What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon, Kindle, and Create Space. A link will be in the description box below, as usual. This video is entitled Why Women Can't Define Manhood. So, Facebook, they had the picture of the boy who went to the barber shop. He had super long hair, and he looked like a girl, and then they cut his hair, and the girl was like, this is, shouldn't the father have discussed this with the mother? So this, and I was reading some of the comments, and this is why I make this video. You see, these are some of this is why women can't define manhood. Because a boy looking like a girl was cute because women and mothers liked his hair. Because he had hair that you wear in a weave, that makes it appropriate. You're making him as manly as possible, that his hair could blow in the wind, because that's so cute to me. That's a problem. That's a problem. You wanted him to grow out his hair so you could have a natural weave? Like, what are you doing? This is why women can't define manhood, because a lot of you ladies who make definitions for manhood, or say what men are, what men should be, you didn't have men in your life. And the men in your life as adults just wanted to screw you, so they let your BS slide, and you were never held to task for your ideologies. And what happens is you got with men, and men got with you knowing that you both were dysfunctional, but he was just going to stroke your ego. So now you think a man is what a man should be in your eyes, and a man will never be what a man is in a woman's eyes. What I mean by that is this. Men can be strategic and tactical, but not in a female way. See, women come off as being strategic and tactical by being manipulative and taking it places you wouldn't have even thought to take it, because you don't have to pay the cost for going overboard. Men have to pay the cost for that. So when women try to define what manhood is, the very things that they think a man should be and how men should operate are the very things that get men killed by other men. Just using that in an extreme case. Oh, if I was him, I would have did this. Yeah, you'd have got hurt real bad. But I don't understand. I know you don't understand, because you're not a man. Because your rule goes, you can always hide behind, I'm a woman, this shouldn't happen to me, he's a man, blah, blah, blah. Those rules don't apply to men. And this is, this is why people talk about like single mother parenting. Now, women know they can't raise a boy to be a man, but I think they're more intrigued by the notoriety and power of being a single mother, especially to a boy. And it's weird because who's to blame for all of these effeminate men? The mothers. But they say that the mother and the father, so obviously their idea of manhood ain't good. How these daughters deciding some of y'all daughters opting out of being girls and they acting more like men. I mean, how that happen? You the mother and the father, but your son act like a girl and your girl act like a boy. Don't make no sense. Now here's the thing. You can't define manhood because you don't know what it takes to be a man. See, it's kind of like, I think ladies take manhood for granted and think it's easy. And I remember they had one of them 2020 episodes, the 60-minute episodes about this lesbian who decided to live her life as a man because in some ways she could pass. But the guys knew something was off about her, but she felt like she could pass in society. And she came to find out it wasn't as easy as she thought. You can't just walk around and say, "Hey, I'm a man. The world's gonna bow to me." No, you really have to, you really have to do some things. You really have to put a lot of things on the back burner and to the side for the greater good of other people. And she didn't realize that. And I bring that up to say this is the thing that why women can't understand manhood, because a lot of these modern day ladies are so selfish. They don't understand what being selfless is. They've been catered to their whole lives. They don't understand what being held to a higher moral or ethical standard is. They don't understand that if you don't go get it, it ain't coming to you, because a lot of these ladies, no matter what they say, either the men in their lives, the women in their lives, or even the government is going to make sure that they live and eat. That's not the same process for men. So when you try to define what a man is from that mindset, you don't understand what it's like to have no support system. You can go out in any city in America, you're going to see, homeless men that are probably parents that may be on drugs, may not be on drugs. The only way you see homeless women is if they're strung out or if they're very old and they can't have kids. Everybody else in the middle, no. So you don't understand, the government doesn't subsidize manhood. So it's off. Another thing about it is when you raise these boys to be we had this issue back in the 90s and maybe in the 80s. You raise these boys to be the men that you wish you would have dated and not told them that the girls that they're raising don't want no parts of them. And this is why you got a lot of men who grew up in single mother households or matriarchal families who are late bloomers in being men, because what wound up happening was as they become adults, they have to self-teach themselves manhood because their family couldn't. These women don't know any rites of passage. These women don't understand the nuances of masculinity and manhood. It's all rhetoric and stereotype and a twisted ideology, and it's pretty much misunderstood. So you can't define manhood because you don't even understand it. And a part of that problem is when men communicate with women is because society kind of inflated ladies' egos to the point where I ain't got to listen to a man. I don't have to listen to a man. I'm above a man. And when men say things and put things in front of women, it's dismissed. And then they catch on years later. So how are you going to define manhood if you are not the canary in the mine? He's the canary in the mine. He comes out and tell you what's going on in the mine. You tell him you don't know. He don't know what he's talking about because he's just a canary. And then you fly your ass down there and find out, oh shit, that's everything he said. But I didn't know that he meant it because I wasn't supposed to listen to that male canary because he's just a male canary. He doesn't know anything. How am I gonna get out of here? How did he tell you you're gonna have to get out? I didn't listen to that part because I didn't feel like he was worthy of listening to. Oh. Okay. Problem, right? Big problem. Another thing about it is Women can't define manhood because sex is not a weapon for men. See, we can't sex our way out of a situation. Oh man, I'm fucked up. Oh, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take my shirt off, put on some baby oil, and maybe some girl come bail me out. Yeah, that shit ain't gonna happen. See, you got it. You know, manhood is defined by your skills and your aptitude and how you're willing to handle adversity. We can't. Beauty is not cannot. Beauty can save women from adversity, but it cannot save men from adversity. And if you don't have any skills, you shall suffer. You know, and that's the thing. Like, in essence, men cover women, so we cover their mistakes also. But as a woman, if you try to define manhood from a space of being covered by manhood and not being able to recognize that the mistakes that you're making, somebody else is fixing them, then the kids you raise under that are going to have that same mentality where they just messing up stuff everywhere, and they just think, you know, it's because they're special that it figures out a way to get fixed. It's not true. You know, you walk in a lion cage and you're wondering why the lion's not attacking you because somebody is fighting the lions for you, and you just, I'm special. You can't hear the person fighting and screaming behind you. What are you talking about? I didn't notice that. That's bad. That's bad. But the last and most important thing is why women can't define manhood is because responsibility and accountability changes when you need that man, that boy that you may have raised to be a man, or that man that you defined as a man. When you need him to live by man's standards, it's completely different than when you define him to be a man. Two different things. You know, he's a man because of his aesthetics, because he turns you on, and that defines his manhood. Yeah, that's the way his energy is. Okay, now you know, but now when it's time to be a man and be a protector, quote unquote provider, you pick the pretty boy. See the problem? You want the pretty boy to be a protector. That's not who he is. That's why you can't define manhood. Because when you define it as something that may be good for your sex life, but not good for your life. You know. Same thing when you want a provider. You want a bad boy that may be good for your entertainment life, but that's gonna be horrible for your lifestyle. So when you define what manhood is, you know, the thing about it is you will reap the consequences of your decisions. You know. And a lot of these guys who allow women to define their manhood is because these guys are allowing you to let them off the hook for their bullshit. Because they're getting sex with you out of the deal. And if you can accept that they ain't shit, that's because you ain't shit too. So, you know, I don't know why I'm talking about this. I'm going to get some red beans and some boudin. I'm out here. What's yeah? I'm with you, bitch.